This guy tried me. And when I say tried me, I mean literally tried me. Today's video is going to be a story time on the time a guy threatened my life because I wanted to distance myself from him, which eventually led to the po-po being called, okay? So this story takes place my senior year of high school. I feel like a lot of these crazy experiences happened to me in my senior year for some reason. I don't know, I was just a mess. Let's just put it this way. It was the year of like realizing things.
And everyone around me were all just like realizing things.
So one day I get a DM from a guy. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, cool, finally a guy who's mildly attracted to me. But you know, I looked through and he seemed pretty attractive. You know, he was tall, he was brown skinned, he had tattoos, and he was also a couple years older than me. He looked like he was from LA, and for people who are from LA, you guys know exactly what I mean. I'm a good judge of character, and when I was looking through his pictures, he looks very mysterious. Like, he looks like he has something to hide. And it turns out that he actually used to live in my exact area, but he ended up moving to LA, which is about, I would say, an hour and 30 minutes away of where I used to live. And he actually ended up moving back to where I used to live. So we were basically in the same exact area. I asked him what exactly made him move back, and he said what made him move back was because he wanted to take care of his sick mother. Now, I want you guys to keep sick mother in the back of your heads in the story. So as the days went on, we would talk more and more. We got to know more about each other. And to be honest, the vibes were okay. I wouldn't say we had a deep connection in any kind of way. I just think it was a very, you know, flirtatious kind of messaging back and forth. And just, you know, we were just really just getting to know each other and just starting out as friends, I would say. Now, one thing I would say is a red flag from him off the bat was that literally if I did not text him back in the moment that he wanted me to text him back, he would feel some type of way. Like if he texted me and I didn't text him within minutes, he would literally get mad and angry, and you can just sense it by the way he was texting me. And I already knew that that was a major red flag. That is a sign of being very possessive and controlling. So yeah, that was already in the back of my mind, like, okay, red flag one. This was around my prom season, so I was dealing with getting everything ready for prom and then also juggling my schoolwork. So I really didn't have time to really give anybody my full in-depth attention. So as days went on, we finally planned a date to meet each other in person. So we were discussing the date, and he was basically explaining to me that he did not have a car at the moment. He said that his car was in the car shop getting fixed. I want you guys to keep car shop in your minds. I wasn't judgmental at all, you know, I completely understood. So I just suggested that we both get Ubers and then meet at the restaurant and then go from there. So boom, you know, we got the date ready, we got everything set, and me, you know, I was getting a little bit excited. You know, I mean, who doesn't love dates? Come on now. So fast forward to the day before our date. Out of the blue that night, I randomly got a text from him, and he basically said, I don't think we can go on that date. And it was just a really random text, so I wanted to know exactly why. I really wanted to just know the details of it and why it couldn't happen. Then he proceeds to give me this crazy ass story on what happened. And he basically explained that he was in a car with him and his friends, and I guess a couple of guys started shooting at them, and then he ended up running and then lost his wallet, so now he has no money to take me on a date. I mean, initially when that happened, you know, I was concerned, but I was also confused because it just didn't add up. You don't just see that every day, you know what I mean? Nobody's just randomly shooting at you, especially if you're not any kind of gang member or anything like that. The likeliness of that actually happening right before a date is very unlikely, so at that point, I thought it was a little bit suspect, and his story just wasn't very thorough, so I started to really feel like he was lying to me. After he told me that, we decided to FaceTime, and honestly, just by his facial expressions, you can tell he was not fazed by anything. To him, it looked like it was just a regular day to him, as if he didn't just almost get robbed like 2 seconds ago. Like, he seemed perfectly fine. So at that point, I knew something was up and I wanted to get to the bottom of it. So the next day, we discussed on how else we're going to meet, since he doesn't have money or he doesn't have a car. Tell me why this man says,
we can just go sit in the park and chill.
am I 10 years old? In my head, I'm just thinking like, are you serious? Sitting in a park and chilling and doing what? Are we gonna go roll around in some grass? Like, are we gonna go play some frisbee? Like, no. Like, okay, doing something cute like a picnic, okay, I completely understand that, that's fine. But we're literally just gonna go sit on a bench, talk, and chill. That was his intention. So I'm thinking like, I'm not trying to seem like I'm bougie or anything, but you know, I know my worth. I know what I deserve. So later that day, he can see that my mood was already changing towards him. I just was not feeling it. I just felt like he was really lying to me. So I honestly just told him, I was just trying to be real. I was like, hey, look, you need to be honest with me. Tell me exactly what's going on, because right now you're playing me and I don't appreciate that. I don't like being played with. I don't like being toyed with. I don't like being none of that. I don't like it. So I just told him straight up, I was like, bro, like, are you lying to me? Let me know. So finally he cracks and tells me what's really going on. He basically told me that his mom isn't sick. So he lied about that. Strike one. He said that he only moved back to live with his mother. Strike two. That was a lie. And it also turns out that he never had a car. Shocker. Honestly, it was just lie after lie after lie. There was a point in my life when I was younger that me and my family were homeless at one point, so I definitely understand when it comes to financial issues. But one thing I hate is a person that lies. I feel as though if you can lie straight to my face like that when we just met, imagine what else you will lie about. It wasn't a fact that he didn't have this or that. Me personally, I am not a superficial person. I do not care in no way, shape, or form what you have. I don't want what you have. I have my own and you have your own. That's how I look at it. It's just the fact that he lied to me from the beginning. I wasn't feeling it after that. I just was not cool with it after that. Like, how do you even lie about your own mother being sick? Like, that right there is just like a no-brainer that this man is a complete liar. So that instantly turned me off and I expressed that to him. I decided to respectfully just tell him like, hey, listen, you know, I just don't appreciate what you did and I'd rather not speak to you. Simple. That's exactly what I said to him. And to my surprise, he was actually very understanding. He understood and we left it at that. I respectfully told him that and he respectfully understood. So weeks go by, guys. When I say weeks, I mean like literally about 3 weeks go by and it was already close to prom season. So I was just really just getting everything ready for prom and just doing all these things. So my life was literally in hectic and I was just doing a bunch of stuff. So, you know, that's what really kept me occupied during that time. And those were my main priorities at the moment. So one day I get a message from him out of nowhere. And guys, when I tell you the message that I seen was so nasty, I just couldn't believe it. It was literally a whole paragraph of him saying just these really disrespectful things. He was literally calling me out my name, calling me the B word, calling me this, that, and the third. Anything that you can name it, he has called me in this one paragraph, mind you. I messaged back. I was just like, you know, questioning him on why is he saying these rude things. And basically, I remember his exact words on exactly what he told to me. He basically said, I better not catch you in these streets. Because if I do, it's not going to be pretty. I just might have to kill you. This guy messages me back and says, I'm going to hurt you like you hurt me. So at that point, I was kind of scared. And, you know, I didn't know what the heck to do. I was just going in my thoughts thinking like, oh my God, did I say something wrong to hurt him? Like, I was just really trying to pinpoint exactly what sparked his issue with me. And, you know, I just couldn't think of it. You know, I was just so stressed at that moment. And it was actually kind of sad. Like, I was really scared for my life, you guys. And it's not funny at all. It's definitely a serious kind of video. But I was really scared for my life. So I finally just decided to just block him and just block any kind of social media that I have with him. And that was that. So I thought. This guy literally got a hold of my email. He messaged me from a different number and he was just constantly threatening me and sending these like death threats. And he was just really saying rude things to me. And I was honestly frightened. Like, I didn't know what the heck to do. He was just really ranting on how I broke his heart and how I messed him up and this, that, and the third. Mind you, we've only been talking for like a week. Like, did I do this much damage to you? Like, what the heck? There was obviously no kind of deep connection that we had between us. At least I thought that from my standpoint. So I didn't understand where the heck this energy was coming from. He would literally call me out my name and then say things about my appearance. He was just saying a bunch of things to try to hurt my feelings. And he also said that I know where you live. So at that point, I took this thing really seriously. I don't know how he would know where I lived at the time, but for some reason, I took that serious. When he said that he knew where I live, I had to take some kind of action. Before anything happened, I did make sure I screenshotted all of his messages and everything that he was saying to me, just in case, because if he were to delete his account or anything like that, at least I would still have his information on exactly what he was saying towards me, just in case, you never know. Now, eventually the next morning came along and he started to message me again and just say all these rude things. And mind you, I knew this guy. Like, this guy was literally in my area. He was very close to me. I was on the west side and he was on the east side. And honestly, I would say between those, it was about literally 20 minutes away, 15 minutes away. I don't know, but he was pretty close to me. So I was really scared at this point. So at this point, I didn't know what the heck else to do. And, you know, I just decided I was going to call the police. The guy, he seemed very rushy with me on the phone. You know, I called him. I told him, you know, my age, my name, everything, and I explained the whole situation to him in detail. And then finally the officer told me that he was going to be paying me a visit in the next couple of hours. So they came in about 4 hours and I met with one police officer. So basically it was just one officer that came by. He was basically just asking me a bunch of questions on, you know, what happened, why it happened, and what led to it. And then basically I was just explaining everything to him. You know, I told him everything in detail. I showed him his pictures, his name, his age, his location, all of those things. I didn't know his address, but I did tell him that he was close to in our area. And I also showed him all the screenshots of what he was saying to me. And his demeanor was very odd. It seemed like he really didn't care. And he just kind of brushed it off his shoulder and acted like it was nothing. I remember exactly what the police officer said. This guy told me,
You're pretty. This happens to a lot of women. Just be careful, and if something happens, call the police.
and then he proceeded to give me a little pamphlet and was like, okay, bye, and left at that. Did I really get justice at that point? I don't know, but I definitely did not get any type of closure or reassurance that everything was gonna be okay. I wasn't expecting him to be locked up or anything like that. I was just expecting for the police to at least take note of it and kind of just watch out for something that would possibly happen. I don't know. I was just expecting a lot more than what he was giving me. So basically what the cops are telling me is that if I see the guy in person, to call the police. I mean, honey, he said that if he sees me in person, he's gonna hurt me. Like, come on now. I've heard so many stories about women being failed by the justice system, and this is just another example of like things that can happen. A lot of these people don't take it seriously till it actually happens, and it's scary. It's honestly very scary that a lot of women go through this, and I feel for many women who are going through this, I know it's definitely a serious topic, and I just feel extremely horrible about the situation and what happened. So eventually when I went back inside, I just was really contemplating and just thinking about what my next steps were. So I went to the store and I bought some mace and I bought some other protection, because just in case, because you really never know. So yeah, I got protection and I just got the things that I needed just to make me feel better about the situation and to ensure myself. So eventually, you know, the messages did stop. I stopped hearing from him completely, and I never actually seen him again. It's kind of crazy because the area that I was in at the time, it was a very small and tight-knit area. Like, everybody knew everybody there. So I'm surprised I have not came across him at the mall or at like the store or whatever the case may be. I'm surprised I have not came across him. Like, that is just completely scary. Ever since then, I'm really careful of my surroundings, and that's just the kind of person I am today now. I'm just really cautious about those kind of things because it's a really scary and serious situation that a lot of people go through. It's just really a scary feeling that you have inside because you feel as though like, what if one day I do see that person? You know, so it's kind of like a scar that you're gonna have for life because you just never know, and it's just really scary, and it's just not a good feeling to experience. My advice to you guys, especially to the women watching, I would definitely say to get protection, whether it's mace or like a pocket knife or like a little key. Make sure you guys have some form of protection just to protect yourselves from any kind of predators or any kind of bad people in the world, because you never know who's out to get you. So just make sure that you guys are very cautious wherever you go, and also watch the people in your circle. You know, watch the people you meet. Just be really careful when it comes to those things because you never know what can happen. So I'm very sympathetic for people who go through things like this because it does happen to a lot more people than you guys think. So that is it for today's story time, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something from this. And yeah, that is all I have to say, you guys. Bye, lovelies.